If you love Chevys, then this is the place for you. This is the wrap-up and recap of the 2015 Menards Chevy Series, where we've toured the country to find the finest rides that represent the best of the bow-tie breed. Beginning the year at Palm Beach International Raceway and ending at Formosa Raceway, the Menards Chevy Series crisscrossed the country, visiting a dozen venues. Here's a look back at some of our favorite Chevys from 2015.
1962 Chevrolet Bel Air Bubble Top. The thing is outrageous. They call it the Street Thunder here with Billy Moose. Billy, tell us about your ride.
It's a custom-built car, and I've done a lot of the work myself. It's got a 632 cubic inch big block Chevrolet style motor that runs on pump gas, and it makes 1,015 horsepower. It's got a Tremec 5-speed transmission, a Mosier 12-volt rear end. Most people really love it. I've had some critics that didn't, but you know, that's normal.
What was the hardest part of your 5-year rebuild?
Running out of money. That was really probably the hardest part because I have a lot of money in the car. But I built the motor myself. I designed the car, wired it, assembled it, done all the work pretty much myself.
How do you feel when you're driving this car? When you're behind the wheel, you got 1,000 horsepower under your feet.
It feels pretty good. You can definitely keep up with traffic.
At every stop of the Menards Chevy Series, we handed out special awards. Here's a sweet Chevelle from Virginia Motorsports Park.
Well, this week's OPGI Original Award winner goes to Michael Taylor, his gorgeous 1971 Chevelle. Really a gorgeous car. The neat story behind this is how long Michael's had it.
38 years.
Wait a minute, 38 years?
Yes, sir. I paid $1,200 for it back in '77.
Oh my God, how old were you?
I was 16. I've had it, like I said, I'm the second owner. I'm not the original, but I'm the second owner.
This is your first car?
Yes, sir, first car.
And you kept it?
Yes, sir.
$1,200?
$1,200.
Okay, I gave you $1,500.
No, it'd be a little bit more than that.
Now, I don't remember Chevrolet offering a paint color quite like this.
No, it was green, but not this metallic green.
I like the ghost image of the '71 Chevelle, and I don't think I've ever seen a green bow tie. He did that himself. Nice touch. Is it the original engine?
Not the original engine, but it's the original transmission in the car and the original rear.
And it had a small block?
Yes, sir. It had a small block, 350.
Boy, you've done a really great job with it. Do you drive it much?
I drove it this morning, hour and 45 minutes to get here. I don't own a trailer, and I drive it everywhere I go.
Not a trailer queen.
No, sir, not a trailer queen. Drive it everywhere.
Boy, that engine is gorgeous. It didn't look that way in the showroom back when he was 16 years old and bought this car. I assure you, he's done a beautiful job with that gorgeous small block. I like the Edelbrock. Look at the polish on that intake and the aluminum heads. Yeah, he's got a real piece here.
Well, I bought stuff from original parts.
To get it restored to the condition it's in.
Yep, the grill and the emblems, the doors, wheel moldings, seat covers, and door panels. A whole lot of other stuff, a little small stuff.
So it's done now?
It's done, it's done.
So now you sell it?
No, I'm not gonna sell it.
We also had some rare Chevys, such as this Black Beauty from Bakersfield.
It's a model of Vega that they built in '75 and '76. It has the Vega motor, but it has a Cosworth head, which is a 4-valve dual overhead cam. They also included electronic fuel injection and comes with a stainless steel header. Ken Duckworth from Cosworth Engineering had approached General Motors when they heard they were building an all-aluminum small 4-cylinder engine, and they wanted to use it for Formula B. So when they approached General Motors, John DeLorean thought it'd be a good idea to stick it in a Vega and have a sports car to compete with the BMW 202s. The final production was 3,500 cars. They stopped production in March of '76 because of sales. So there was only 1,400 made in the '76 model.
And this one being special as a '76 because of the transmission?
Yes, they only made 700 with a 5-speed transmission.
In particular appeals to you about the Cosworth Vega?
It's the performance of it, of being a 4-cylinder, and the handling. I had owned previous Vegas, and I always thought that the Cosworth was kind of the epitome of the Vega.
Stay with us for more of the best of the Menards Chevy Series, where we'll show you a tricked-out truck from Tucson. This episode of the Menards Chevy series is brought to you by ARP, the world leader in fastener technology. Original Parts Group, the world's largest source for GMA body parts and accessories. Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radios since 1977. And by Steel Rubber, quality crafted rubber parts and weather stripping. Welcome back to the Menards Chevy series Best of 2015. When the season kicked off in Florida in March, we encountered a wide variety of bow-tie beauties, but one El Camino really caught our eye.
Now, probably the second most popular Chevelle besides the 1970 is the 1969. And in the El Camino, SS 396 rules the roost. This is a beautiful example right here that belongs to Jay Bernard. But when you go to the engine compartment, folks, you're not gonna believe what he's done there.
Well, it started several years ago, like 25, and we got tired of the stock. And I pulled the engine and chromed every part that was chromable, and then made billet copies and polished the aluminum from the factory until we got what you see here today.
Yeah, some of the plastic was chrome.
Yeah, the plastic is a process that everybody knows about. They just don't think about it. It's the same as the knobs in your car. It's called vacuum plastic plating. So we chrome every plastic part that are all stock parts. There's nothing in there other than a few copied billet parts that's not stock. And we put it all back in the original location.
Everybody comments about this rich, beautiful color.
Yeah, we picked that from the Corvette color palette from 1969 called Dark Teal, and we put two pearls and a metallic in it to get it to pop out.
Another prize given at each event was the Rock Auto Restored Award. And here's a neat Nova that took the honors at Bandimere Speedway.
1966 Chevy 2 of Randy Watson. Has kind of elements of Pro Street, has elements of custom, and even has some Pro Touring elements in it. Randy, you have had this car for a long time, and this is kind of the latest version and evolution, isn't it?
Yeah, that's correct. Well, I bought the car in the early 80s, and I had another car at the time, and it sat on the street for about 6 years. Well, I got rid of the other car and started working on this one. It was pretty much a basket case. The only thing good about it, it was a two-door hardtop. I was going to just put a 327 and a 4-speed, but the front suspension was all rotted out, and the rear suspension was rotted out, and I just kind of decided to put a full frame under it, and things kind of took off from there.
I think one of the first things people notice is this really cool small block you get under the hood. 671 blower on top with EFI, and you said that was kind of an adventure to get that whole situation set up.
Yeah, it came as a kit, but it took me a whole summer just to get it to idle. So it's it runs good now, but it was quite a headache to get it going.
Well, this is a car you get out with a lot. You're from Nebraska, so how long was the haul to get this car out here to Colorado?
It took me about 10 hours, I guess. It's about 570 miles one way.
Well, you know, you got to be really thankful to have all the hard work kind of recognized that you put into this car.
Yeah, I really appreciate the fact that Rock Auto sponsored this award, and I really appreciate all the things they do for Chevy Show.
Well, thanks for being out here with the car. Thanks for kind of displaying it, letting everybody take a look and have fun rowing the 6-speed and banging through the gears with this nice blown small block, man.
Okay. Yeah. The bad part is it's 575 miles back home too, so.
We found our next favorite in the Arizona desert. Check out this trick truck from Tucson.
It's a 55 Chevy Suburban now. The frame itself was a 1-ton dually 55 1-ton flatbed. We saw the movie Twister after I got the frame and decided to put a 55 Suburban body on it and then make it a dually. The first question is always why, and the response is why not, just to be different. It seems to be probably more hit, but there are obviously people that go, I don't get it, it's too big, but I love it. It's a 498 stroker motor with a 671 Wien blower on it. It's all original Nabco axles with a Dana transfer case under it. So the frame and axles are all Nabco, which was a company that converted to 4x4s for GM and other companies in the 50s. My wife helped me a lot with the colors. She picked out the mauve and the yellow underneath, and then the green was just something that I've always loved. Plus, it's kind of almost an original Chevy green. So
Now
You say green, but I see turquoise. Is this like that dress?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got it. Well, they call the color a bright aqua green. So don't ask me how they get there, but yes, you're right. It is more of a turquoise. We started just literally doing a frame off because it was going to be a flatbed. Everything was going to show under the truck, so we literally stripped it down to nothing. But then a lot of the axles, both axles were broken and leaking, so everything had to get rebuilt. So as we're rebuilding it, we just kind of kept powder coating and cleaning and detailing as we went. So that's how that happened.
What would a Chevy show be without a fantastic 55? We'll show you one from Memphis when the Menards Chevy show returns in a moment. Welcome back to the best of the 2015 Menards Chevy series. When we flew into the Memphis International Raceway, we fell in love with a 55 that truly deserved our Duracell Crank It with the Copper Top Award.
For years, you've been putting Duracell batteries in your kids' toys or your flashlights, but you can put them in your car too, and not just your daily driver. You can put them in your hot rod as well. And one of the ways we're going to prove that to you is right here with this gorgeous 55 Chevrolet owned by Sean Brenneton out of Tennessee.
I bought it back in 1986. It was my first car for $1,500 at Auto Trader, and it had a straight six in it, 3-speed on the column, original rear end in it. It was oxidized baby blue. Just throughout the years, I've kind of worked on it. This is the second motor I put in it since then. We did a Fat Man Fab front end on it. It handles great. It's got rack and pinion steering on it, Willwood disc brakes all the way around. So it gets the job done, that's for sure.
You know, there are about a million different ways to build a 55 Chevrolet, and Sean's kind of taking an interesting approach with this car. We got this big blower on here. We got vintage stuff like these old 70s Holley thumb screws on the flow poles of the carburetor. Let's hear a little bit about what Sean thought about putting this car together.
Late 80s and stuff when I was a teen, DeCoin, Illinois, Street Machine Nationals was the thing, you know, and I loved like Scott Sullivan with the big wide tires and Pro Street and all that kind of stuff. So I originally kind of wanted to go Pro Street with it, but obviously like now that it's gotten older, Pro Street wasn't that big of a deal. So I had the blower for the Pro Street car, and then it's just kind of evolved, I guess, you know. It's not like I really went for one particular thing when I did it. I just wanted a really good street machine that, you know, I could go to car shows and do better than average with.
You know, fuzzy dice have been part of the hot rodding landscape since this car was built in 1955. They all have a little bit different meaning. These dice for Sean have a very special meaning.
My mom bought the dice the day that I brought it home. And yeah, she passed away in 1998, so no matter how faded they get, they'll stay that way forever.
You know, when 55 Chevys came out of the factory, they had little 14-inch wheels on them. Well, Sean's made some significant changes with these big rollers right here.
I just put the wheels on it last year, and I still don't know if I like them or not because they're, you know, they're so big. I had 17s on it, and I thought those were huge, and now I got 20s and 19s, so it's a little bigger than I like, I think, but I'm getting used to them.
We saw quite a collection of Camaros this year, and one of the best was at US 131 Motorsports Park in Michigan.
Folks, I've been looking at Camaros, been doing car shows for years and years. This, without question, is one of the most accurate, perfectly restored 1969 Camaros I have ever seen. I've gone through it. All the safety marks are there. All the markings are there. So we had to get the story behind this car. We caught up with its owner.
We saw an ad in the paper for a 67 Camaro. So we drove to Rolling Prairie and ended up and looked at the car and ended up buying it. So we went back the next day with a trailer to pick it up. And jokingly, I said to the guy, I said, well, what else you have you want to sell me? He said, well, I got a 69 out in the barn. So we ended up looking at that and bought it too.
How long did it take you to restore this car?
10 months to the day.
Well, that's pretty quick.
That's all day, every day. I do the best I can on them, you know, do a lot of studying, take a lot of pictures of other cars, research them, so I tried to put everything back just the way the factory had it.
Maple Grove Raceway offered up another Camaro, an IROC Z with lots of HP.
This producer pick is absolutely awesome. 1987 IROC Z, here with Harold Karen, who owns it from Long Island, New York. This thing is spectacular.
Thank you very much. I actually bought it on my 18th birthday. It was a stock 305 Camaro that I actually turned into this over many, many years. Pretty much did a full back half on the car, full chrome Molly cage. It's a 352 cubic inch motor with an 871 blower, runs on E85, electronic fuel injected. So it makes about 1,100 horsepower to the crank and 900 to the rear wheels.
What kind of music are you rocking when this thing is on the street?
The exhaust. There is no radio in the car because I want to hear the exhaust. That's what I like, and that's what I listen to. And the blower bell.
Stay tuned for more of the Menards Chevy series when we visit Tennessee and uncover a one-of-a-kind home-built beauty. This episode of the Menards Chevy series is brought to you by ARP, the world leader in fastener technology. Rock Auto, all the parts your car will ever need. Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radios since 1977. And by Drive Duracell, crank with the copper top. Welcome back to the Menards Chevy series. Bristol Dragway brought out some superb Chevrolets, but nothing could top this tricked out Tennessee truck.
Well, folks, here comes a Producer's Award. You're not going to believe this. First thing you're going to ask, right? What is it? I had no idea either. I'll give you a slight hint. It's kind of small. It's a pickup truck. Would you believe this is a 2000 Chevrolet S10, or at least it was. I had to catch up with the owner and find out, is this a kit or fiberglass or what?
I made all the hood, made all the front of it, made all the bed. I used the doors and the quarter panels off and the top off the S10.
What did you make the grill out of?
It's a piece of mesh, and I had it chromed, fitted in there and had it chromed. Then I put the tubes around it.
What about the headlights?
They're the center parts of a late model Cadillac. I built the rest of it.
And that dashboard, it looks kind of like 56 Chevy?
The center part is of a 55 to 59 Chevrolet truck.
And so you made the dashboard?
Yeah, yes, made it all.
Out of steel?
Out of steel.
Okay, what do you got for a transmission?
It's a 4L60 overdrive.
But it looks like it's a 4-speed.
No, it's the shifter in it is the column shift out of the S10. I mounted it in the floor and turned it sideways to shift sideways.
That's absolutely incredible. What about the rear end?
It's got a Corvette suspension, all Corvette rear end.
You ever drive this?
Drive it all the time.
No!
I don't never trailer it, I drive it everywhere.
It's unbelievable. And it took you a year to do this?
Yeah, part-time.
Part-time?
Year. I work quite a bit.
Well, you must have 5 or 6 English wheels.
No, I do most of it myself. I did all this truck myself except the interior.
You got people coming up and the first word's got to be, what is it?
Yeah, that's the first thing they ask you. They don't know what it is. So once in a while, somebody will figure it out.
The fourth of our special awards is presented by Minties, and at the Texas Motorplex, we found a station wagon that was a real treat.
When it comes to a Minties Top Dog Award, boy, did we bring a showstopper. Blake here brought this Nomad, this Bel Air 55, and I gotta ask you what a new school guy is doing with an old school ride.
They make the cars better back then. Style, lines, everything just looks so much better.
And let's start with the engine there.
Went with a LS7, 4-speed automatic, and custom Mark Morrison chassis, just to give it that new school ride with the old school look.
And speaking of looks, you did the metal work there, welding together 2 cowls, and you cleaned it up, covering the oil fill. Lots of work and dedication, and a great look there under the hood. Congratulations. The interior, very impressive as well. Those seats?
Yeah, they're out of an 06 Pontiac GTO, and then we sectioned them down 3 inches just to give it a cleaner look.
A great balance of art and technology. The fuel door, totally Terminator. How'd you do that?
Basically just retrofitted a custom actuator in there and tried to make it work as smooth as possible.
And that's what we do, is we make things work. Drum brakes out of the factory, drum brakes today, you kept them because why?
They overall give a better pedal feel, and to me, they stop better than the disc on the rear. That's just my personal opinion, and then went with a SoCal drum simulator to give it the old school look.
So you took it up a notch as far as the wheel and tire package goes. Did you have to do any finessing there with the chassis to make it fit?
Yeah, we did a mini tub kit, like I said, just to push in the inner fender all the way to the frame. That way we had clearance for a 12-inch tire.
All right, then, in this side, we can get a good look at the interior, which really does look warm and comfortable. I like that monochromatic look.
Push-button shifter, like I said, analog gauges with all the idiot lights, all the modern stuff that the new cars come with.
All right, so as you walk back to the front of the machine here, tell me as you're driving this machine what kind of reaction it gets from people.
I've never seen the back of so many cell phones in my entire life. I mean, you don't see the people. All you do is see the back of their phone.
Gateway Motorsports Park provided us with a vibrant red vet.
we saved the best for last. This gorgeous 1958 Corvette has been completely rebuilt, and well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let Jerry tell you the story.
I bought it in basket. It was a basket case when I bought it. I've had it for probably 40 years.
40 years?
Yep.
Get out of here.
Yep. It took me, I started on it about 5 years ago, and it took me about 5 years to build it.
Now, wait a minute. What happened the other 35 years?
It was stored in the corner of my garage.
In pieces?
In pieces.
Well, what inspired you?
Well, it was supposed to be my retirement project. I retired 10 years ago. My wife said I better get started at it.
Well, that's not the stock Corvette engine.
Not quite. The engine, 2010, 434 horse, LS3.
Whoa.
It'll get with the program.
Yeah, what transmission you got?
It's got an automatic 4L65E. It originally had, well, it was an old drag car.
No.
Yeah. And it was well known, I guess, down in southern Missouri. And when I got it, it had a 302 DZ Camaro engine in it.
Oh my gosh.
And
rare engine.
Oh, very rare. And I didn't know it. I sold it for nothing.
Oh no. Yeah, there are Camaros would kill for that.
You ain't a kidding.
What'd the wife say when you finally got it done?
Oh, she loves it. She loves it.
You let her drive?
She never has. No.
This is your baby.
That's my baby.
Do you drive it much?
Yes, we do. Last year we put about 5,000 miles on it, and it drives and rides better than her. She's got an 07 Corvette. That's her. This is mine.
So that wraps up our look back at the 2015 Menards Chevy series. We hope you enjoyed it, and here's some good news. This series will be back in 2016 with some new venues and even more great machines. Be sure to check out the series website and join in the fun. We'll see you there.